subscribe to Mchenry Man Show.
Do it! Just do it!
Coming to you from Industry Sound Studio in Modesto, California, it's the Mchenry Man Show.
I went all the way back through your thing, saw you interview Pacquiao. I was like, oh shit, this dude's for real.
Yeah. That was that's when Manny was about to. He had signed on a contract to fight De La Hoya, and I was invited, and that was like really interesting to see him, and then I really get to see how small this guy was. And at that time, everybody, I mean, even in his own camp, were like, yeah, he ain't gonna beat his ass. He's not beating this guy, Oscar. And but I mean, you want to talk about generous? Like people talk about him now. This guy is so free. I mean, there was probably about over 100 people at this gym at the Wild Card in Hollywood, California. And after his training and sparring, I'm packing up. I was with my brother-in-law, Vince, at the time. We're packing up and about to head out. And Manny's, I don't know if it was his manager. I can't remember who it was, but he goes, hey, Manny's taking everybody to go eat. Now, I was like, really? He's invited to eat? So I'm thinking he's taking, his little small little camp, his group of people, and then just going to be my brother-in-law. That's it. No, man. He took everybody that was there, over 100 people.
Wow.
And fed everybody.
Damn.
And that wasn't the only time he ever did that when we were there.
Wow.
So he's a pretty phenomenal person, man. Not just a phenomenal athlete at the moment, because the only guy 4 decades in a row to hold the title. But I think when he really speaks as being a human being, the guy's top notch. Yeah, there's just no way. You stand next to the guy, you're going to see the horns of you, because he's got a hail.
Now, when you got into boxing, like, was it your dad or family that got you in it, or was there like a specific fight that really like hooked you in that you saw?
No, I think it's just kind of traditional for any Mexican family.
Yeah.
I come from a Mexican American family. My grandfather was a massive boxing fan. My uncle Mario was a massive boxing fan. So it was just like automatic. Once you were old enough to walk and talk and throw your hands, you were gonna learn how to box. As with my kids, my kids, I got a family video of me where I have my oldest son on my lap, and then he's not even 2 months old, and I'm showing him how to throw combinations and stuff. So it was just kind of like you had. Regular folks had their Sunday gatherings, right?
Yeah.
Our Sunday gathering was watching the fights.
Yeah.
And it was the only way, and you got to remember, like if your dad or your grandparents were around, and if they're in that time and all that, the only way they gave you time to bond was something that they liked. So that was really my opportunity to bond with my uncle or my grandpa or my dad, because other than that, they were providers. They didn't have time for you because either they worked a lot, and then when they got home, they didn't want to hear you. They didn't want to hear you outside.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, when I first, I used to be big into boxing too, not like you, but it was Mike Tyson was what got me into boxing. It was just like he was just like had barely gotten the title. We had Mike Tyson's Punch Out at Home on
I remember that.
SNES, and so it was crazy when finally Buster Douglas took him down, and it was such a just like a weird thing when it happened because it was he was not at his best. At the time,
but nobody thought that Buster Douglas was going to be able to take down Godzilla.
Yeah,
no one thought no one was going to be able to take Tyson down during those times.
Yeah,
nobody.
Buster Douglas was way underclass compared to Tyson, so it was crazy that that happened.
It's just the beauty. That's why I love the sport so much. Like Andy Ruiz now has taken the biggest upset in boxing. Took it away from Buster Douglas. Andy Ruiz did the massive upset, only having 8 weeks to train. Was the replacement from Baby Miller to take on Anthony Joshua, and he becomes the first Mexican ever heavyweight champion of the world, and that's what I've always loved about the sport of boxing, because no matter how good that guy is, you always might have a little bit more fire in this guy where he's the complete underdog. That's why people like Rocky. You know what I mean? They like the fact that Rocky's an underdog,
Yeah.
and they're going to root for that. We love to root for the underdog. So, those moments in boxing, it doesn't have the glorifying and or the satisfaction like the Super Bowl, because if you're a football fan, if you're a football fan, you get to look forward to the Super Bowl,
right?
The big jerk off for it would be that your team made it. You know, where boxing,
Right.
it only comes, if that, every 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, where you get that one feeling, that one high, that very first high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. But other than that, once it hits, you get that high, you're always going to chase the dragon with boxing. And that's what really keeps a lot of these, hardcore boxing fans still with the sport. Because there's a lot of folks who are like, dude, you're still a fucking boxing fan? Like, really, Dave? I'm like, really? Really? I'm still looking for that high again.
Yeah.
You know?
So do you think there was a chance in that Conor McGregor boxing match that he was ever going to win that?
No.
No, even I knew that he wasn't gonna win that. I was like, this guy's a doofus.
No. You know, here's the thing. Boxing and MMA are just apples and oranges. Okay, there is definitely a skill in MMA. There is no way in hell that any boxer is gonna sit here and try to convince me they can get in an octagon and compete with some of their top athletes. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen. I don't give a shit if you're Mike Tyson with the biggest punch. I don't care if you're as fast as Manny Pacquiao, and I don't give a shit if you have the footwork of Lomachenko. If you get in there with a high caliber elite fighter in UFC, whatever, they're going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And it's vice versa.
Yeah.
Those guys get into the ring, it's a completely different ball game because now they're limited. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you hear the old UFC is next closest street fighting. Get the fuck out of here with that. Nobody's gonna the fights like that. It's that quick. You don't even get time to think. But here's the crazy part. By saying that, you're really downplaying these UFC's athletes because you're saying basically anybody can do it.
Right.
That's not true. Have you ever had a guy 200 pounds or plus, even a guy 160 or 140 on top of you is totally relaxed and able to breathe by you struggling and you're trying to pull them down, and then you end up getting up and you've only been on the ground for 30 seconds and you thought it was 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's something there.
I mean, it's totally rare to find that one person who's actually was athletically natural for everything. It's super rare. Just like when Michael Jordan went to baseball. Come on, that killed it for me. I looked at him so different. I'm like, dude, this is not your game.
Me and Bo Jackson was doing it before that.
Golf, yeah, he's really good at golf too. Okay, that's chill. But there's a difference between swinging at a little ball that's standing still and a curveball coming at you 90 miles an hour, and you're trying to swing with the bat. Two different games, and
those
you're
are
just
real, here's the thing though. I applaud that because those are real athletes that are trying to test themselves. They're always trying to set a goal. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. PEDs is a massive problem in sports.
What is it?
PEDs, okay?
Yeah.
Performance enhancement drugs,
Oh.
okay? It's a massive problem in sports, and here's the reason why. Because a lot of athletes, once they hit that pinnacle, once they hit that one lifetime limelight, they want to continue it. That's their drug. That's their drug of getting applaud. They feel like kings. They're on top of the hill. And then they could see that their body's not doing the same. After a certain amount of time, their body's not reacting the same. Their timing's off. They see that they're not, they could see the opening or whatever they were used to catching a ball or hitting the ball or throwing a punch or shooting for the legs. They could see it, but they can't react to it anymore.
Right.
What do they start seeking for? Something that can help them. So athletes like Michael Jordan and all these guys, when they decided to go to other sports, it's because they felt like they plateaued. They needed something to challenge them. That's what competitors do. It's a very addictive thing. I've always said this: boxing, just like any athletic sport or anything that comes in music, it's a lonely thing because it takes only you to get there.
Right.
And once everything's gone and it's finally faded out, and it's a whistle in the wind, you're the only person.
Yeah, and that's kind of similar to what's his name too was Dwayne Johnson. And he had problems with football when he played for Florida, and then he went and did wrestling. Took over for his dad, and he became really great at it. And then someone else I knew that was crap. Oh, Terry Crews, crappy at football, but a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I see what you're saying about that too. And it's that those different kind of personas go out, and normally what I'm used to seeing, and I see it a lot, is once you hit that plateau in a sport, where do you go? you start doing commentations on ESPN. That's
Well,
what you
plus
normally
Jordan
see, majority of them. But now
Jordan
they
was
see
the
from your
best ever.
perspective.
So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's
From your
that's something
perspective, though,
different.
you know what I
though.
mean?
I wouldn't agree that that's the same because they go to doing commentating because you know what? If that's what they took in when they went
No,
to
I'm saying
school-
that's what I'm used to
Right,
seeing.
right.
I'm not used to
Yeah.
seeing someone go to another sport or another career or doing this
Right.
and that. You don't see that. You just
Yeah.
see them go straight into that. Troy Aikman, Michael Irving, who else? Emmett Smith. Who's the guy that used to quarterback number 8 Niners?
I don't know, man. I
So
honestly,
I'm saying, like,
Young,
I just
I
see,
don't know.
and then you see like Charles Barkley doing it too,
Right.
and then everybody. I'm like, dude, this sucks. Like,
Yeah.
To me, it just looks like you.
But
you
see,
know,
they have
that's
a
where it
better
goes.
plan, though. I got to give it to them, and because I've always told fighters, you got to have a plan B,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And you got to applaud these other athletes, like in football, baseball, because that's the fallback.
especially these contact sports where you're
Yeah.
getting CTE and shit. So
yeah,
You
exactly.
think that was
They don't-
McGregor's plan B? Was just in case if he was falling off the boat on UFC and boxing was like kind of like his plan B if he was really good at it? You think
I
that could have
doubt
been?
it.
No, or he just did it just for publicity.
yeah,
No, he did it
Yeah.
for
because
the
he was smart.
paycheck. Yeah,
He was smart. He was smart enough to understand that, you know what, Dana White has a monopoly. Okay?
Yeah.
He's only going to give you a couple of crumbs to keep you not starving, but not overly too hungry.
Oh, okay.
Right? And he was smart enough to understand that boxing, regardless of what everybody, like, you get a lot of what's I always found very weird that UFC fans are always rooting for another sport to die in order for their sport to thrive. It's really it's weird. You know, why can't both sports could thrive at the same time? But
Yeah.
here's the thing: is that boxing still produces a world income.
Yeah.
You have countries that are gonna literally, like, you got countrymen that go, well, fuck, I can't feed you kids, but I'm gonna go see this guy fight.
Yeah.
You know, right? Bite on those nails. So Conor McGregor understood that. Conor McGregor has Ireland. Ireland's a big boxing
Yeah.
country. He understood. Look, you know, the versus. I mean, you want to talk about one of the most racist sports in history? It's two: soccer and boxing. What other sport do you pit other races against each other? Mexico versus Puerto Rico, Filipinos versus Mexico, America versus the Europeans, Germany versus the Jews. This is the only sport that does that.
yeah.
As well
I
as
think
soccer.
about that. Yeah.
Okay? Conor McGregor knew that. He knew he could, you know, get his countrymen to be doped to believing that he was going to win. And he knew that a bunch of, you know, affliction guys wearing shirts are going to buy into that. He could possibly beat Floyd Mayweather. You know, even though Floyd's not who he used to be.
So what would your what would you say if the fight went the other way than it did? Like, what would you have thought would have happened after that? Like, your thoughts.
You mean that if Conor
if Conor
McGregor,
McGregor actually beat
you got to
Floyd
give him his
Mayweather?
props. What else could I say? I would have to give him his props. You know, I would have to say that, you know, Floyd Mayweather screwed up. He got old. He either got older overnight or didn't take this guy serious, and he got embarrassed in his own sport, and the sport that he grew up in.
Yeah.
Third generation, third generation. Oh, second generation. I'm sorry, second generation in sport, and you got embarrassed by a guy that just picked up gloves, just, you know, and went out there. But I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, that's not
Right,
what
right.
happened. He toyed with him like a cat with a mouse. So
And
it was like-
if you go back and you listen to my podcast and you listen to even on some of my rants, and I'm talking about this, you literally hear me give a breakdown, because that's what I do. I give you a breakdown, give you a scenario of what this fighter may or may not do or shouldn't do. That's what I'm giving you. I'm not telling you to take the pick. I don't give you your picks. Okay, I get a lot of people who are like, oh fuck, took your pick and you were completely wrong, and I'm like, well, you didn't listen to the other part then. What I said was that what Floyd was gonna probably do is walk him down, because you walk down a guy that doesn't have footwork, and Conor McGregor doesn't have footwork.
Because he uses his legs though too.
He uses his leg, but doesn't know how to use it
it
correctly in
Right.
boxing. You know, there's a completely different stance in boxing and how to avoid punches and how to throw punches. You know, it's all from the legs. These are just all these are here for. Okay, is to guide your power. This
Yeah.
is, this is it. This is all this is for. These guys are what you have your power from. Okay, and these guys are what they're going to save you.
That's why I always have that comment: don't ever skip leg day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew that wasn't going to happen. But I had so many friends of mine that, like, back in East Coast and that don't watch boxing, the UFC guys, and they're like, call me, Dave, what do you think? I'm thinking about putting money down. I'm like, go right ahead. Does he have a chance? Anybody
Yeah.
in a combat sport has a chance. Buster Douglas had a chance. Just the only thing is Buster Douglas actually had a pedigree in boxing. You know, Andy Ruiz had a chance. He had a pedigree in boxing. But there's the thing was, Andy Ruiz, if you're a hardcore boxing fan, you knew who he was. You knew about him. You knew that this guy was around the circuit for years, and you knew how talented Andy Ruiz was. Problem with Andy Ruiz is he was lazy as shit. That's why every promoter in every gym was kicking him out. You know, where Conor McGregor, we knew that he was a phenomenal athlete. I actually liked the guy.
Yeah.
You know, I thought he was great for the UFC.
Yeah, he's a good fighter. Yeah.
Good fighter, good talker, good trash talker, great character. You know, boxing and UFC needs those WWE characters, man.
Oh,
they
yeah.
need those stories. If somebody can come over to our sport,
Like Ronda?
yeah, if they could come over and write these stories for the sports of boxing and the UFC, do you know how much bigger
They had
it would be?
Tyson on when it was called WWF back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that. When he first got his face
Yeah,
tapped.
Tyson
Yeah,
Fury
yeah.
over there just did,
Yeah.
you know, a couple months ago. And people were shitting on that. They were upset.
Yeah.
But he knew what he was doing because he made more money doing that and bringing more casual fans to
Yeah.
watch his fight when he knocked out Deontay Wilder. You know,
And
I mean,
isn't
shit,
Tyson
even-
talking about coming back?
Even-
Mike Tyson is talking about an exhibition. And of course, you know, everybody that's in retirement is
Wait,
coming out of the woodworks.
what I call it the Balboa expedition because that's what they did. Oh, it was just an expedition, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna get handed to you.
No, he'll come back with headgear and,
Yeah.
and the whole works, which would not be. And look, he looks great at 53. Who in their right mind wouldn't say, like, damn, this guy's chiseled? I mean, shit, when I'm 53, I want to be as chiseled as him or as healthy as I could be as him. Hand speed is there, but God, just like Bruce Lee said back in the days, you know, boards don't hit back, hand mitts don't hit back.
Yeah.
You know, and if you watch Iron Mike's end of his career, you know, even like with Danny Williams, he was done. He was, you know, he only has 3 rounds left in him. He's
You know,
53.
What was
He hasn't
his
been-
last fight? Holyfield or
No, we're talking. God.
I mean,
White
I'm
kid's
talking
name.
about like the rematches, not where he bit off the ear.
Well, real matches, yeah, would be around. Well, you know, Francis Botha would probably. Lennox Lewis actually would be his last real match
Okay.
when Lennox just dismantled him and stuff, you know. But I wouldn't want to see any of these guys go in there, man. Just, I mean, but you know what? People will pay, and people will talk about it. And there's going to be a lot, and there's already a lot of people uploading on YouTube, you know, fantasizing about Mike Tyson making a comeback.
And yeah, but
You
and Mike,
can't
he's
not
not going to
be-
make a comeback where he's going to become champ. But
No.
I could see that his team picking someone that they think he can beat, and then doing that.
Yeah, I
Someone
mean, for the right money, shit, I'd make a comeback. Shit, give me the right money. I'll get in there and get knocked out. For shit, I don't give a damn. You know what I mean?
You fall on the second, we give you 10 million.
I'll
Like,
even
I'm
let him hit
done.
me.
Let me sign that contract. Here you
I
go.
think it would be worth it letting him hit me. Okay, I
Letting you
was like,
hit
okay.
you and then what? Wake up 3 years later.
that's all right. I'd rather get hit by him than get the coronavirus. I'll tell you that. At least you can recover from
Yeah,
Mike's,
I know, huh?
Mike's hit. You know,
Yeah, no, holy shit,
shit.
dude.
Yeah, no, definitely, man.